let's talk about 5 DC books that are great keys that are all under $50 on fair market. But if you aren't already, follow me here on Instagram and Facebook. Drop a like, drop a subscription, ring the bell. It all helps the algorithm. But more of that at the end. Want to jump into the 5 great books here. And I'm not saying run out and buy these books for $50. I'm not saying run out and buy these books at all. Just giving you straight information. And all these books I bought for well under $50 myself. So I'm not even saying $50 is the price range. I'm saying they're all underneath that on to eBay solds and stuff like that. So we're gonna start off with this great book right here. I actually have all these. I didn't pull them all out for this. Some are on my wall, some are in boxes. These are all great books that I have. Action Comics 419 from 1972. This would be the first page of the Human Target. The Human Target's already proven himself fit for TV and possibly for the James Gunn verse, the DCEU. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Have a 1992 show and then a 6-season run on a new series starting in 2010. I think it went all the way to 2016. Christopher Chance, the Human Target, was created by Len Wein and Neil Adams. And again, look at the gorgeous Neil Adams cover right there. Chance basically takes the place of people who have hits out on them and tries not to get killed. It's a fun concept and one that works really well for a series as it already has. I definitely think it's one that's very much up James Gunn's alley. Reese the Sold's laying this book under that $50 mark, although sometimes people ask a little bit more for this one online, especially because of, again, that iconic Neil Adams Superman cover. It's a character that has the same name, also appears in Detective Comics 201 and Gangbusters 61 back in the 50s. He had the same shtick. Fred Renable would basically only make 2 appearances, created by Edmond Hamilton and Sheldon Moldoff, who's a great Golden Age artist. But the original Human Target wouldn't make it out of the Golden Age and would remain a forgotten Earth 2 character. Action 419 graded copies are going to cost you a little bit, but solid raw copies are well under $40 and they're worth the pickup. I spent less than $10 on this one right here. I'm about to pick up another one. Moving on to the second character list of books. This one's actually got 2 books tied on it because they both kind of hand in hand. Just League of America number 64 is the iconic one from 1968. But we're going to start off with Mystery in Space number 61 from 1960. Start off with Mystery in Space. First appearance of Ulthun, the Tornado Tyrant, a sentient tornado. It's a tough book to find. Stuff when it's stumbled across. I always find it in low grade. But presentable copies often go in that $30 range if you can grab one. Adam Strange battles Ulthun and it basically blasts and defeats the alien attacker. It's a fun Gardner Fox story. Again, it's one I always find that's waterlogged or the staples are popped or there's something ripped out of the inside. I have a copy somewhere back there that's not too beat up. But it's always one I find beat the shit. 8 years later, Gardner Fox would return, and he's writing the JLA. And if you like Gardner Fox, check out my Hawkman video I did about the history of Hawkman and Hawkgirl. A lot of great Gardner Fox funness in that. But in issue 64, Gardner Fox is writing, and the Tornado Tyrant has returned, but he's a little bit different now in an android body. And a retcon in the future, not in this issue, but later on, Ma Hunkel of the Golden Age, also known as Red Tornado, apparently their memories are inside the android, and she's Cyclone's grandmother. It's a weird, unknown Golden Age character back from like All American Comics 20, I believe. It's weird, but I guess technically she is Red Tornado in a way, but that's all retcon later. Red Tornado is the elemental heir. Originally in this issue, Red Tornado is from Earth 2, and when he moves from Earth 2 to Earth 1, he's warped and changed in some way, and that's why he's, this android, and it kind of goes crazy. It ends up, getting reined back in by the JSA and the JLA together. It's a rocky history, but even that book is under $50. And Red Tornado is a classic hero. One I put in my mind up there with Martian Manhunter, Plastic Man, Dr. Fate, even Green Arrow to an extent. But albeit these are all much older characters, but there's a very large price gap. And I think Red Tornado first appearances are both these books are great buys right now, especially if you're underneath $30 on them. I think that's a good place. We have a couple issues of the JLA, and I only have, I think, one in Mystery in Space. But I'm always buying them when I see them, when they're not beat to hell. Moving on to the third spot, we got Black Lightning, number 1 in 1977, community pillar and DC's lead black superhero, created by Tony Isabella and Trevor Vaughn. Eden, Jeff Pierce is a school teacher by day who lives on the dark side of Metropolis, the suicide slums. A born metahuman who can manipulate lightning and is trained in martial arts. Black Lightning is a founding member of the Outsiders, Batman's classic team from the 70s, and he started his own CW show that lasted 4 seasons, debuting his own self-titled series, which would later last 11 issues before DC's financial troubles. They ended up cutting down a bunch of titles. They all got chopped off, and this was one of them. But he landed himself on the JLA, and Black Lightning's 1 is also his first solo title featuring a black character for DC. Raw sell well under that $50 mark, and 8.0 graded averages that $50 line, but I picked up mine for $10. You can find him out there. Great book to pick up. Definitely a character I can see showing up yet again. And again, he's already worked for 4 seasons on the CW show. So it's definitely a character with promise, and it's one that is a bigger DC character on that street side. Moving on to number 4, Sandman number 1 in 1974. Dreamscape superhero with the power set to take on Freddy Krueger is a Joe Simon and Jack Kirby creation during Kirby's run over at DC. And this would be one of Joe Simon's last original creations. And this would be the last time the duo would work together, famous for co-creating Captain America. Sandman, or Garrett Sanford, would get a 6-issue miniseries. Michael J. Fasher, Jack Kirby, Ernie Chan would all finish out the following 5 issues without Simon, sadly. I think he only worked on the first issue. But we have guest inking and lettering by Mike Royer, Wally Wood, and the 6th issue has a sub-in cover by Bill Drott, which is a great cover. And at first I thought it was Kirby. I had to look at it a second time when I first saw it. There is a semi-rare color variation to issue 1 as well, where the blue comes through as purple in an error version. Listings are higher in line, but recent solds for both blue and the purple are less than $20 raw. Even graded copies are really cheap at $8.5, being under $40 on GPA, and even the 9.8 is barely over $100 for a book that's, been around for a little while. And 9.8 for $100 is terrible. Again, not saying go run out and grab a 9.8, but not a bad price in my opinion. But hey, don't just look online. I found mine at a Judge show. So, something that you could definitely see out there. I'm not saying this is a book you're going to find on the dollar bins usually, but you can definitely find it for $20 or less, let alone that $50 price range. Moving on to the last book, and this one is kind of shocker to me. Not that it was on this list, but it was so even more cheap than I thought it was. Firestorm number 1 from 1978. Talk about another iconic legacy character. Ronnie Raymond and his professor, Martin Steen, are fused together in a nuclear blast, and they become Firestorm. 1 hero, 2 minds. Firestorm had over 100 issues in his own series and was also in the original Superpowers line of toys by Kenner. Although Ronnie's professor aren't the only ones who become Firestorm, they are the first and the most iconic to be Firestorm. Somehow, someway, this book is not just under $50, but it's consistently selling for less than $20, which is wild because, again, Firestorm's a classic character. He's been on TV before in the Arrowverse. He was on that, not Legion, whatever, I forget what that one show is called. League of Super, something like that. But he was on that show. He's, again, had over 100 issues of his own in his own series. He's in multiple volumes. He was on the Superpowers line. He's in the cartoons. He's a classic character. And another one that I kind of think of, maybe not quite as a Martian Manhunter, but definitely in that conversation. It's not a hard book to find, but it's a great pickup, especially if you're going to buy it in that $20 range. I'm hunting for additional copies at that price point. And even a 9.0's under $40, which is wild for a book that's almost 50 years old. With patience and a couple bucks, you can find all 6 of these. I personally got all of these books for well under a collective $100. Honestly, maybe even under $60 for all 6 issues listed, I do believe. But in my opinion, that's not too shabby. Let me know, what other books from DC do you think fit this price range and are great buys right now? Is it because it's a down market, or because these books not worthy of that $50 price range? I'm not saying they are. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you have any of these? These are all great books that I have myself. Let me know if you have them, or if you have a First Martian Manhunter in the comments. I would love to know if any of you guys have First Martian Manhunter. Great book. But if you don't already, follow me here on Facebook and Instagram for more daily content. Ring that bell. Click that like button. It helps the algorithm. If you enjoyed the video, please do so. Drop a comment. Subscribe to the channel. And on Facebook and Instagram, we do weekly content talking about like Tales from a Hunt, where I go out and talk about me going out and finding books, people I ran into, stuff I didn't buy, stories I have, fun stuff like that. Plus, the Facebook group Fandoms Unleashed, you see behind the scenes look at Connor's comics, polls and upcoming videos, great conversation about movies, games, comics, TV shows, whatever it may be that fits in that kind of fandom category. And that's all linked down in the description. Until next time, peace.